All right, I would pick Beau up and have him here, but he had some back issues, and so we're just going to say this is Beau's roadmap to success, and you can trust me that Beau's right down there. All right, so this is a summary of the video of the session that we did. And so Beau right there is just, I offered my hand, he took a step towards it and then said nope and stopped. So he is, unfortunately, because of the board and train situation, I think they really did a number on him. So hopefully you would call that place and get a refund or give them a bad review. Not that I don't know the name of the trainer, but it's just, I'm sorry, there's just no excuse, there's no reason that you need to be striking a dog to train them, because now Beau has some confidence issues. Now the video above should talk about a lot of things that that the guests can do when they come to meet, but really what I want you to try to do is set a goal. We're gonna try to get 1 or 2 people a week to come by and visit us. You know, you guys have a nice place, you're a nice part of town, invite friends to come over and, you know, have a couple of glass of wine, have some beer or whatever, you know, you don't drink beer, have some liquid death and whatever it is you want to do. But the idea is let's start bringing some people in so that having people come and visit who are listening, who are respectful, who look out for him and do the things that make him feel good happen more frequently. So hopefully he can just gain more confidence and we can help him put that insecurity behind him for good. Now we started off the session, I'll kind of go in a chronological order. We started off by going over marker words. The marker is yes, and remember this, because by the time you guys will see this in a couple days, remember the next couple days, like tonight, grab a bunch of pieces of treat and walk around your house and just say yes, treat, walk all over your house so he knows it works in the dining room, the living room, the basement, the kitchen and so on. I usually don't do it outside. You can do it outside, but just for the loading, I just want to have him without any distractions. Yes means I get a treat. And that's classically conditional response. And after a while, yes to him is almost as good as getting a treat. Now, when it comes to treats, try to have 3 levels of treats. The treats that I use Charlie Bears, which we didn't use here today. Charlie Bears are a wafer treat that look kind of like a spree. They come in different flavors, but they have a shell in them. Then the mid-level treat is what I use are called Tricky Trainers, soft and chewy liver flavor, and they're pork liver. And I usually cut those in half because he's a little guy. You don't need big treat. The smallest treat and the lowest value you can get away with is what you should try to use. And then my highest value treat, what I call crack, is a Stewart's freeze-dried beef liver. Now this is an actual beef liver, so I take a straight edge knife and chop it into little pieces that are about this, in between the size of a BB and a pea. You want to use, again, small portions. So have those different levels, so maybe if it's resource guarding, you need to go to the higher level treat, or if it's something really easy, use the lowest level treat. We have guests come over, maybe use the higher or the mid-level treat. So being able to go up and down really makes a big difference. Load the word for the next couple of days, and then when usually it takes you a minute each time. By the time you're done with Sunday, you're done loading. Then you could just use the word. So every time he comes to you, say yes and pet him, or give him a treat. Every time he sits, yes. Drinks water, if that's one of the things you want to train your dog to do. Anything he does that you find desirable, that he's going to repeat, say yes, and then pet him under the chin. Remember, don't go over the head. After a while, he'll start coming and sitting in front of you, because sitting seems to be the thing that gets your attention. This will boost his confidence. It will increase, helps him practice basic obedience, increases respect for you as a leader, and it's just a good way to have a dog learn to be polite. We also went over celebrating, and celebrating is basically just rewarding the dog when it does things that you want. Remember to point at each other and say celebrate if your partner forgets to do so. But try to be mindful of it so you're doing as much as you can. I want you guys to get in the habit of it. It's going to take you about 2.5 months to get in the habit of it. So really, we're basically the beginning of August, so August, September. So by like mid-October, that's when you should be in a habit. And when you get to that point, he'll walk up to you, say yes, and pet him, and you keep on watching TV or whatever. So you won't even be aware of the fact that you're doing it, but just about every time you pet him, it becomes a little micro dog training session. Let me see. We talked about manners, but I don't really think you need to worry that much. Just if he's nudging you for attention, it's not that he wants to go outside for potty or whatever. Thank you. Ask him to sit first. And if he ask him to sit once, if he sits, then say yes and pet him. If he doesn't sit, remember, go back to doing what you're doing. You're going to kind of guide him in that direction. Now, let me see. When you take him outside, have a treat with you. When you get to where you're going, when it's going to start to potty, as soon as he gets into his tippy-toe stance to poop or lifts his leg to pee, say potty 1 time in a normal tone of voice. Hold still. When he gets done, say yes and put the treat in his mouth. That way, when he's here and he's standing at the door, you can say potty. If he goes like this, yes, he has to potty. Say potty and he just looks at you. Then it's probably something else he wants. And so adding those cues can really help. Now, after we went over the marker word, we went over a hand targeting exercise to actually help the guardians practice their timing of using the marker word. Remember, the marker comes the instant the dog does it. So it's sitting, the instant the bottom hits the ground, you say yes. That buys you another 3 seconds to pet them, say good job, which you probably already did by saying yes, or to give them a treat. And so, but the closer you get to the activity, the behavior, starting is the more is going to accelerate his progress. So try to get in the habit of celebrating the things that he does on the regular, and using the cues. Like if you know, like he stopped short, but he's walking towards me. So if I'm sitting here and I'm one of you, and I know he's going to come all the way to me, and he gets up over there by your filter, and you know he's coming to you, say come. And then he comes to you. When he arrives, you say yes and pet him. So you want to try to sneak the cue in first. Remember, the cue is the label. It's the direction. It should always come before your action. You don't say touch. You say touch, then you chop your hand. You say sit, and then he sits, and then, yeah. All right. So let me see. What else did we go over? We went over dog consent and cutoff signals. And I'll have a video listed for that one. It's really just me talking. Remember, if his ears are going back, that's his chief indicator he feels uncomfortable. If he refuses to look at something, that's a cutoff signal. If he looks at it side eye, or he's licking his lips a lot, that's more of a sign of stress. If he refuses to come to you, if he rolls over and shows his belly in a situation where you know he doesn't like something, that's not asking for a belly rub. That's like, I'm being as submissive as I can. I think that because of the Borden train, he has adopted a kind of most dogs would have a fight or flight response. I think his response is more of a freeze response. And when you were putting the harness on him, I saw him freeze, his eyes almost like bulb got out of his head. So if you see him freeze like that and you see his ears going back, stop and recognize maybe there's something else that that he's uncomfortable with. And whenever that's the case, ask yourself, how can I recreate it? How can I break it down into small individual steps and practice step 1 over and over and over again till it's easy to step 1 before I go to step 2. And eventually you go step 1, step 2, step 3, and then you practice 3 a little bit. Eventually you do the whole thing. If I forget, yes, I'm going to put a video on how to trim his nails. But remember, that video is the same thing. We hold the treat and touch his top of his paw. Then hold the treat and then release the treat. Hold another treat to him. Touch his paw a little bit more strenuously. Eventually you lift it up. But eventually we're giving him a treat after each one of these. So if I forget to put the link above when you're watching this video, remind me and I can add it into the text. So I want you to practice that. Practicing when you don't need it is the best practice. So when he's nice and relaxed after a walk, grab a treat, hold it up here, touch the top of his paw, and then give him a treat. Hold another one up here, touch the top of the next paw, give him a treat. Do the same with the backs. Eventually you're holding the paw up, eventually you're holding a digit up, eventually you're holding a digit up and putting the trimmers around it without touching it. And after each step you stop and he gets a treat. So after a while he's like, I like it when you trim my nails because I get a copious amount of treats. We went over the CER exercise, and if I don't have that link, again I have videos for that as well. That's one where you had your hands behind your back and you want to break whatever that is I just touched. So if the harness is in this hand, treats are in this hand. I swing it out, he looks at it, I say yes, and then it goes away and I give him the treat. And eventually, after you get to the point where he's looking at it easily, then I hold it out and I want him to lean towards it before I say yes and give him a treat. Eventually, I want him to lean forward and touch it with his hand and then with his nose, and then he gets the treat. And if he gets stuck like he did there, you can put the thing on the ground and put some treats underneath it. And he's approaching it and interacting with his own. Again, if he approaches it, he feels good. If it approaches him, he doesn't feel so good. And that's another thing for guests. The reason I mentioned it in the video above is I want you to meet the guest outside. If he comes into a room that the guest is already in, he's entering the guest space. If the guest enters the room he's in, the guest is invading his space, and that's going to make him feel uncomfortable. So if you do it outside, that'll give you a benefit for that. Now, the book that I read that helped me to learn how to stop resource guarding is called Mine, M-I-N-E with an exclamation point. That's the stuff we went over in your red room. You guys are already doing a good job of that. But basically, if he does get that resource guarding, remember, you step out of the room, grab some treats, and again, try to have him in a Tupperware container. So here's that crinkle. He might run out of the bedroom, and that's fine, but then you don't get a chance to practice. When he does freeze, and remember, that's what we're looking for, this first indication he's uncomfortable. So you might, and if you're lying in bed, you might just say, hey, let's test it. And then you walk in there and you're watching him and you're watching him. You get a different vantage point from behind. You see the ears flip back, or he freezes, or he lowers his head, or whatever, whatever you see. And sometimes it's helpful to put a camera on him and record it. So you can go back and watch it in slow motion. Sometimes you don't catch all the things. And then the idea is we stop, the first indication he feels uncomfortable, we stop, we take note of how close we are, 10 feet, then we walk away, let him relax, then we come back, maybe even stop at 11 or 12 feet, a couple feet before he gave his first indication. You either throw a treat, or the person with him gives a treat, and then that person walks away. And then the person does that, and I do it usually 3 times. So I'd approach at 12 feet, throw a treat, walk away. Approach for 12 feet, throw a treat, walk away. Approach for at 12 feet, throw a treat, walk away. Next time, go to 11 feet, toss the treat, and walk away. So now the 3 is just my arbitrary number I start off at. Sometimes I might have to do 5 in a row at 12 feet. That's okay. But the idea is we want him to gradually have to get closer and closer. He's not offering any cutoff signals whatsoever. Yes. He just sat down. And then eventually you get to push that boundary closer and closer. Eventually you'll be able to walk right up to him and give him a treat, and he's cool with that. Now, since you were holding him and he did a little bit of guarding when you were kind of leaning over to kiss, again, I would pick him up and then you walk over and give him a treat and then walk away. It's kind of similar to what we were doing with the harness, sticking our hand through there, except for without a harness. So now when Dad approaches me, he's not going to steal Mom. He's not going to take my spot in her arms. He just wants to give me a treat, and he's going to give her a kiss, I guess, too. But then it's something in it for me. He feels good about that. And practicing when you don't need it is the best way to practice, because then you don't have the pressure of all the other stuff that comes with it. You just focus on what it is. Now, right there, he laid down, yes. I'm just going to say yes. I'm not going to pet him because I petted him before he got up. So most of the time we must say yes and give him a pet or a treat, but occasionally you say yes. Like if you're laying there and he lays here, and if you get up, you know he's going to get up, you might just say yes. Yeah. And we want to mark it. We prefer to reward him as well, but sometimes you can get away with not doing that. Okay, so we also went over the door exercise, and guess what? I have a video for that too if you need one. So the key for that one, that's called counter conditioning and desensitization. The key to that is you have to go slow and at his pace. So what we're going to do is we're just going to lightly knock and then give him a treat, and knock a little bit harder, give him a treat, and work our way up to the point where we're doing the hard knock that hurts our knuckle. He doesn't bark, he gets a treat. If he barks, there's no treat. And that tells us that knock was too intense. Now we can do this with anything, with the sound of skateboards, blenders, nail trimmers, anything you want. So the idea is make a list of all the things that he doesn't like. Systematically desensitize and counter condition him to those things and strike him off the list for good. So if he's got like 18 things that maybe trigger him in some regard, and you can knock 16 of those suckers out, it's a massive quality of life improvement. That's going to help him shake off that anxiety. Remember, when he does shake, that's his way of saying, so every time a dog shakes in my daycare, we go over and we pet that dog. And so good job, let go of that anxiety. Don't pen that stuff up, that leads to cancer. All right, we also we talked about the importance of some rules. So ask him to sit before we prepare his food. Sit before we give him permission to eat his food. Sit before we let him out of his long-term confinement area. Things along those lines. For feeding, you've already gotten him doing some impulse control. So have him sit and wait, put the food in, and then whatever your favorite dish is, call it catfish or whatever it is, and he goes over and eats it, and that becomes his word to eat. Now, we talked about how to introduce cues. Remember, there's 4 parts of cue. There's the label, sit. There's the action, number 2, the dog's sitting. There's the marker word saying yes, tell me he did the right thing, number 3. And then there's the reward, the pet, the treat, attention, number 4. When we were teaching him, we do the first step last. So lure him into a sit and say yes. Lure him without saying sit. Don't try to add the label until it's easy to lure them into the position. Then he would say sit, lure him into positions, yes, and give him the treat. So try to come up with some, like I said, for potty, make sure you do it for there, but for other things as well. I taught one of my dogs to drink water when I say happy hour. And I did that through celebrating. Every time he drank water on his own, when he got done, I said yes and petted him. Well, after a while, when I saw the dog walking towards the bowl, I said happy hour. He's going to drink water anyways. It didn't mean anything to him. But I said it every time. And after a while, I'd say happy hour. He drinks water and he comes over to me and I pet him. And my friends laughed. That's important because dogs are one of the few animals that can actually read a human facial expression, which is a fancy way of saying dogs know that when you smile, you are happy. If I want my dogs to lie down, I say crash and they flop down. If I want them to go to my dog bed, it's called Jamaica or Venice. One of my dog's word to eat is lasagna. People laugh at these words. You have a dog that has kind of some heaviness. If you guys are fighting and you're at dinner one time, I'll eat with you, but I don't like you very much right now. One of your friends comes up, she's funny as hell, she's cracking jokes, you're almost peeing your pants. Like you get up, you don't even remember what you were pissed about. Coming up with some levity, some things that make people smile, calling your dog bed Queens or wherever you're from in New York or Jersey or whatever, that makes people smile and laugh. That's going to make him feel more relaxed because the energy is lighter. It's not so heavy. So try to, you don't have to do it for everything, but try to come up with some funny cues, like to eat his food, to drink his water, call it, liquid death or whatever it is. And so, but again, that laugh and that levity helps, especially when he's a little bit insecure. Let me see, what else do we go over? I think that's just about it. Is there anything else you want me to go over?
I have a question.
Please. You can ask me now or you can ask me off camera, either one.
Do off camera.
Okay, we'll ask that off camera. Anything else you guys want to ask about?
I feel like that covered.
It's like I've done this before. All right, now there's going to be probably some other stuff that we talked about that you're going to remember later on. That call or text me the number and save my number in your phone. Text me. If I don't hear from you, I assume everything's going right. I don't charge phone calls, text. I want you to bug me. I want you to be so happy. You give me a 5-star review, so people hire me instead of sending their dog to the board and train. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me, no matter what it is. My clients who get the best results are the ones who watch this video and the video above each week until when you watch the video, there's nothing there. Now, if you get to that point and you're still having problems, give me a call if you want to, and we can set up a follow-up session. But usually people do that about 4 or 5 weeks, and then that kind of helps you max out all the session. And I'm hoping, like most of my clients, that this helps him feel more comfortable. I want to see his ears up all the time. I want to see him comfortable enough to sit or lie down around people without having to move across the room. All right, this is Beau's Roadmap to Success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.
Hey.
Thank you.